Kia ora, my name is Maru Nihoniho and I run a games development company called Metia Interactive based in Auckland.
I used to think when I was playing games, where is the Māori game? Or where is the Indigenous game that I want to play? Where is the game where I can see myself reflected back through these windows of interactivity 30 odd years ago? And I didn't see that game, I couldn't find that game, so that's the game I wanted to play, and that was the game I wanted to make.
Guardian Maya is a game that I'm working on. It's a third-person action-adventure, and we're making that for PC and console. So we want to get this out on the major platforms. And it's a game that incorporates Māori culture, it incorporates our language, and most of all it shows our culture in a way where it's like, hey, I didn't know, or maybe someone might say, hey, I didn't know about that, but now I do. And this is the relevance of it, and this is what it means. So we want to build some kind of understanding in the game. And actually games are a really perfect platform for learning without being taught. It's not like sitting there and someone saying, right, number one, we're going to do this, and number two, we're going to do that. You just learn by doing. I mean, the best thing about games is not just playing them, but having fun while you're playing them. So you're kind of like picking up all these really cool things in the game that, is part of the game's journey, but the overall or the overarching story is where you get these little snippets or big snippets of information. It's a big story behind this, and it starts with basically colonization and the loss of, or the almost, losing of our culture and our language, and being able to bring that back in many, many ways, many ways.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And hey, these are tools. Like a game is a tool. The internet is a tool. Anything that's technological these days are just tools. And if you learn what the tools are and what they can do, then you can do anything. Like you can use a website for basic information telling, or you can create a game that's going to really involve someone to take the time to go through the game and learn it and play it and then build an understanding. So either way, if you sort of narrow technology down to, hey, these are just tools that we can learn and we can use, then you've just opened a whole world full of potential opportunities. Having the strength and resilience in this sort of game development business is needed. You've got to push forward and you've got to get your point across so that people can see your vision. Even if you haven't quite got to the point of showing like a game demo or anything. So I think the biggest strengths are your motivation and your confidence, but also always keeping inspired. The other thing with me is just knowing that I have my ancestors behind me. I often think of my mum and dad, and I know they're with me. I know that when times get tough, and there's been plenty of them, that I'll have a talk to them and I'll be like, hey mum, gee, is it really this hard? And and all that. But I also understand that going through this type of journey, when it does get tough, is giving you some kind of lesson. It's like giving you patience, or it's getting you to think about it in a different way. So everything that kind of happens, even though it's hard to say, sometimes when the negatives get a bit too much and you're like, oh, that wasn't good. Sometimes that is good because it gets you to think, how can you do this in a different way? You want to achieve the same goal, but it wouldn't work that way, but it may work this way. So I think having your whānau support as well, because my whānau are pretty good at, saying to me, oh, that sounds good, or no, that doesn't sound good. and I'll listen to them. So it's a lot of communication and a lot of talking with the ones who are around you, the ones who support you, and also remembering our tūpuna as well. And sometimes a really good point is you don't have to tell existing mythologies as well. You can make something up, because it's going to bring in your experience, so as a young person or as a person of your journey in your own culture, you'll be able to bring through those experiences. Because a lot of young people, like TikTok, for example, one of the things I enjoy about TikTok is watching story times. and people are talking about whatever it is they're talking about, and because it's them and it's authentic and it's engaging. And I think if you can tap into that, bring that story to life on the gaming platform, of course people are going to enjoy it. And if it's cultural, if it's a story from the Pacific or if it's a story from wherever, people are just going to connect with it and say, oh, that sounds familiar, or hey, I'm really, really interested in that, and they'll just be invested in your story and they'll just want to know more. Well, New Zealand's not, well, I don't think the industry in general, whether it's New Zealand or anything, are ready for our own stories. But it doesn't matter, because what you do is you make it ready. You bring the stories to life, because once the global audience sees these stories and they're authentic and they're unique and they're not clones of, oh, another superhero story from there, and they start to see that, there's a whole culture, all cultures of authentic voices, that's going to make it ready. So it's sort of like, you don't need to wait. You don't need to wait for it to be ready. You just go out there and do it, and then you've made it ready. So, well, yes, I'm very, very much looking forward to the day when the game is launched and it just goes out worldwide on multiple platforms. I will first of all be relieved. I'll be like, oh, finally. But, yeah. Be like, oh my gosh, it's done, and I will be very relieved. But most of all, it's like, there we go. It's a highly creative technological platform, gaming, and the story is on it, and it's going to reach millions of people. Well, it better reach millions of people. And they're all going to engage with the story, with the culture, with understanding, because it will naturally just build an understanding. It's not like, oh, kia ora everyone, today we're going to learn about whatever. It's like, just get in there and play it. If you don't know what a tāmoko is when you first start playing the game, well, you're going to know what it is when you finish the game. If you don't know what a karakia or a waiata or a what's a native bird, a kiwi. I know everyone knows what a kiwi is. Maybe a kōkako. Yeah, you're going to be like, well, I know what that is now. So, I mean, it's just a immersive, interactive experience that is perfect for us as Māori, as Pacifica people. Get the stories out there before somebody else does it for us. It's like, it's ours, so tell it from our voice, because if we don't, someone else will. And then we'll be sitting there going, oh, that wasn't good. They should have done it like this. Well, true, they should have, but wouldn't it just be better if we just did it ourselves? And I know we are. I know in the TV film industry, they've been doing that for years and years and years, telling our stories. Well, now we're sort of in this age of gaming and blockchains up and coming and all the rest of it, Web3 and all that. Now we're going to sort of migrate and move over to those platforms as well.